Dad, look at the droid selling queso.
It's not polite to talk about others like that.
It's okay, kids. What are the chances he's gonna hear us?
It's high. It's very high. Don't worry. You can make up for your embarrassment by procuring some of my queso. It has flavor.
Only K2's Mucho Queso is made from a blend of Bantha and Thala siren milks.
Here, ingest this.
Ew, it stinks.
I could say the same for you.
What?
This is so good.
Congratulations. Your taste buds are being rescued.
Daddy, let's buy it.
Your behavior, young lady, is continually unexpected.
Rebels will love the home-style meltiness of K2's Mucho Queso. The Empire? Well, Marva said it best.
Let's get going, kids.
Try K2's Mucho Queso. You'll love it. Cassian said you had to.
Join me. Together, we can rule the galaxy's far and south.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Hello there, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princes. This is Todd Hoffman and Trent Hoffman. You're listening to Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. Welcome to episode 171. Today, we're looking at episode 9, The Harbinger of season 3 of The Bad Batch. Usually, my little buddy Trent would be joining me today, but unfortunately, just with scheduling and everything, couldn't get it done. And for whatever reason, we did record our quick review. It all fell apart because of spring break, but we had a great time. We are continuing to play Myths and Mortals from Fortnite, so check that out on our stream, twitch.tv/Big T Little T. So we're doing that. But we had two little, I took some time off last week for spring break, and we had two little fun events that we did. We went to the Disney 100 Museum exhibit, and it was kind of like I guess it would be a pop-up museum, if you will. It's a temporary museum exhibit at this place in Chicago, kind of north side, and so we went there. And it was super cool. So essentially, it's the first 100 years of Disney and just celebrating that. And it really kind of went through, where Disney started and where it is at today. And they had a bunch of props and stuff from the movies and everything. It was really a lot of fun. I think the coolest, there's a couple cool things, but I mean, it kind of starts out with the animation and the kind of fables and dancing that it used to do. Like they had the dancing skeletons short and stuff like that. So it was just super fun seeing kind of the origin stuff of that. And then as you got into some of the more the classic Disney stuff, I mean, they had like, the book of Sleeping Beauty, like how they opened it up, and like a couple different props that were really just kind of cool. But as you progressed, they had like, there's a really cool section of like marquettes and like how they develop the characters and like the color palettes of the characters and stuff like that. And they had props like, the real cool thing was like they had the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, like submarine, the full prop. It was, I guess it would be called like a bigature because it was like big miniature type thing. Star Wars section was a little light, not going to lie, a little light, a little disappointing. But they had a porg. They had the sacred Jedi text, the prop for the Jedi text from Last Jedi. They had Rey's lightsaber from Rise of Skywalker, which is, Anakin, Luke Skywalker, you know the deal. And then they had a fully First Order Stormtrooper, which was cool. I think they had the dice from Solo. It was a little lean for me, but that's okay. But then they had some cool stuff from Marvel, like Captain America's shield, Miss Marvel's costume, or Captain Marvel's costume. and a bunch of little like helmets, like Iron Man's original helmet from. Yeah, it was cool. And then, then they had like stuff from, like, how can I put it? They had stuff from the park, like how the park was developed, and then some of the animation stuff that they did, like, like how they went from storyboard to actual production, and it was really cool. They had this one little section too where you could be Rocket the Raccoon and just you stand in this place, and then it captured your facial recognition camera, and you could move and articulate as Rocket, which was kind of cool. They had like the Hall of Presidents like head and what they use for the hydraulics and all these little things and levers, and it was very interesting, very, very cool. And so just like a bunch of different history, a bunch about the music. The one cool section is they had like Frozen, Let It Go, and they showed the singers from each of the countries doing that song in different languages was super kind of cool. And then they had this like Foley section with the sound effects, and so they had like the actual bottle they used to replicate the pickaxe for the dwarfs, and just the kind of cool things about like early start and how they made sound. And then they had this whole music section about all the different music. Yeah, it was really cool. Kids had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. It was a great time. So if you're in the Chicagoland area, I think it goes through April, and it was really a lot of fun. About two and a half hours to get through the whole thing. It's not like a huge exhibit, but it's still fun. And if you're a Disney fan, I would highly recommend it. The next thing we did was it was called the Volo Car Museum, and this is up in Volo, Illinois. Never been here, just kind of heard of it on a whim, and went there, and it's super cool. It's basically kind of eclectic car collection, lot of really classic cars, because it's like a car auction / museum, and it has all this kind of different stuff about cars, and they have a lot of movie prop cars, which was super fun. Yes, there was a little Star Wars. They had a land speeder that was there, that was used in the movie, which was cool. They had Echo One and like Knight Rider, and just so many. They had like the buggy from Aliens, and like the family vacation station wagon, and they just had so much stuff there. It was super, super cool. Like even like they had like the Beverly Hills Hillbilly car and the Munsters car, and it was just unbelievable about all the different cars. But then they had like, they had like the Ford and Ferrari. Now, I haven't seen this movie. I'll throw it out there. I haven't seen that with Damon and Bale, but they had the actual Ferrari and Ford from that, and they just have like a lot of like quirky, weird stuff. There was this one section where they had like musical stuff from Coney Island that you could like put a token in and it would play this music, and it was just really, really cool. They had the blast from this from Pass for Us for Jen and I. It was like they had the Showbiz Pizza animatronic people, and it wasn't working yet. They were getting it kind of all set up. But yeah, that was a blast from Pass. Crazy, creepy, but that was it. But yeah, they had this. It just was really cool. And then they had a dinosaur section that we went to as well, which was like animatronic dinosaurs. You can learn about dinosaurs and stuff like that, which was super, super fun. And it was just a fun experience, very eclectic, very cool. And I would highly recommend that too. So if you're in the Illinois area and you want to check out Volo Car Museum, I would check it out. They had the classic, one more thing. They had the classic like Batmobile from 1960s, as well as the Tumbler from Dark Knight, as well as the Tim Burton one from, I think that's 89 or 90 or something. Yeah, anyways, they had a bunch of different stuff, man. It was just any kind of movie car, like they had like the Fast and Furious car. There was one, I think it's from, I don't know, one of them where they dropped from a plane and literally they made 3 cars and this was the only one that survived. They were jumping from like 14,000 feet, which was kind of crazy. And it just cool, bizarre, they had Knight Rider and Back to Future car and the hearse from Terminator 3. And yeah, it's just, they had like a Elvis car that was Cadillac did not make a station wagon, but he converted his Cadillac into a station wagon so he can lug all his gear. And it's like legit title, papers, the whole 9. Yeah, super fascinating, super fun. So check that out. So I hope everyone had a great Easter. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter to all of you. And I hope it was a good time for you and your family. We had a great time. Fortunately, Jen was sick, and so she couldn't join us. But yeah, she got a little bug, and so we were kind of down and out for the weekend, but went to my mom's. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. So let's move on to our main topic, which is the Harbinger. Okay, so shocker, we kind of saw this in the trailer, but this is the Aja Ventress episode, which, I had to do a Wikipedia. I'm just going to before we get into this episode, man, I had to do a Wikipedia because I read the book Dark Disciple, and if you haven't read the book of Dark Disciple, you owe it to yourself to do it, okay? But I had a little questions. I was a little sus about it, but if you're not familiar with Dark Disciple, here's the deal. There is another Jedi, Quinlan Voss. If you're not familiar with Quinlan Voss, you need to you got to get brushed up on your Dark Horse. And he is in the Clone Wars. Just a really cool character. He is name dropped in Revenge of the Sith, but he is not seen on camera unless you count the little tiny cameo in The Phantom Menace. That's right. When Jar Jar gets the little fish thing, I forget what it's called, but he grabs it with its mouth and Jar Jar says, "Let go," and it spills on Sebulba. Yet seen right there, Quinlan Voss can be seen. It's just a weird thing. I don't know. But anyways, Dark Disciple is a book that I wish I could remember who wrote it, but it's based off a Clone Wars arc that they did not do, and then they decided to make a book about it. And let me tell you, it is some good Clone Wars stuff. And essentially, Ventress and Voss is deep cover, like deep undercover, like dark side kind of cover stuff. But they're trying to take out Dooku. I'm not going to spoil all the little nuances. I would really recommend this book. But basically, Voss and Ventress are like bounty hunter partners, and they kind of do a bunch of dirty deeds, done dirt cheap. You know how it is. Sorry, I had to throw a little AC/DC, but there you go. You understand all this. But I am going all the way to the end of the book, and essentially, Ventress sacrifices herself for Voss to stay out of the darkness, if you will, because Voss is like almost full-blown darkness, he going full dark side, brother, and hook, line, and sinker. But here's where so she dies. I mean, that's where like Voss stops Darth Tyrannus, which is Count Dooku, and so it's Voss Kenobi take Ventress's body back to Dathomir as like That's her resting place because she's, a night sister, blah, blah, blah. But according to Wikipedia, now I can't confirm or deny this because I don't remember this from the book, but it says, I'll just read this verbatim. Voss follows shortly after by Kenobi, beginning to hear whispers of the Night Sisters' voices, welcoming their lost sister back home. In fact, as Voss reached out in the Force to say goodbye to Ventress one last time, he thought he could make out the word sister. Her yellow lightsaber was laid to rest with her. Okay, so what? I don't know. So she's back. I mean, it's not like a huge stretch. I mean, the biggest stretch, and no pun intended, is Darth Maul. I mean, basically his anger made him survive, even though he's cut in half, and he was able to survive and do all those things, and we got to see that play out in Clone Wars. And actually, he's one of the best character arcs in Star Wars, brother. But this one, I got to look at the book because I don't remember that, and maybe I'm just like, I just thought she died, and they fell in love, and it was a whole good thing. It was good. So I was a little surprised, but it's cool to see the hair on Ventress because that's how she's portrayed in the Dark Disciple. So anyways, check out Dark Disciple. I'll plug that. You got to plug it. It's really good. Okay. So back to the Harbinger again. We had the video game mission last week where Hunter and Wrecker are wrestling alligators, space crocs, and trying to get information for M Count. They didn't get that information, but Fennec is like, I know a person that would know, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So they're back on Pabu, which is kind of their home base for a little bit. And essentially, our little Batcher dog person thing, doggy, goes out and sees something in the cave, feels something. Our girl Omega goes there, and there's a ship there, and it's Ventress. So I really enjoyed this episode because it's kind of like a little bit of Last Jedi-ish, where you have Ventress kind of testing Omega in the Force, and it's like simple exercises, and then you got like the space dads hovering very closely. They don't trust Ventress, which is cool. Ventress understands this. She sends Omega on a go get this flower on the tree, a very Jedi thing, and so she has to climb all the way up the Pabu little mountain thing, and the clones and her go at it, and she's like super well reserved and just like kind of takes them out. And really kind of like what I like about this episode is like Ventress is she's even scared about what is happening with the Empire and what's going on. And they're bigger than you think. And I think it's like she sees this swell brewing with the Empire, and she was able to find them, and basically it's kind of like that, I wouldn't say deep state, but it's kind of like eyes are everywhere with the Empire, and you are not going to be hidden too much longer. Be careful what you're asking for, because if you start throwing out M count, it is going to get to the wrong people. So basically what she spills the beans. It's about midichlorians. It's about cells in your body, which is kind of cool. So they kind of do a fight with the things, and they're all beat up. And Omega comes back, and is like, "What's going on?" And so they give Ventress kind of a second chance, if you will, and they go on this kind of little fishing thing, and she, we get this kind of Luke Skywalker Rey thing where it's like Luke Skywalker with Yoda. I can't summon the fish, and then Ventress goes up there like a boss and summons some fish, but then she summons a big monster. We like monster episodes in Star Wars. And so she kind of pulls up these rays really quickly, but then she communicates with a sea monster. Blah, 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 blah. And so the boys come in. The hovering parents are coming in. And there's a cool scene where like Wrecker's looking through some macro binoculars, and like Ventress gives him the stink eye. And it's like, how did she know I was watching him? And Ventress is cool, man. She's like top level stuff now. So now Ventress like, hold off. I could communicate with this monster, and she does. And even though the monster is like this hermit crab octopus thing, and grabs Ventress and almost puts her. Eats her, but then she communicates and they have a moment, and Omega's like, wow, she's really top notch. So essentially at the end, basically Omega, what Ventress says, Omega does not have high M count. Omega again is perplexed. Well, why do they want me? I think there's a little bit more, but maybe Ventress is not. I mean, it's hard to say, like, you have a micro training episode here where it's like it's not that much, but I think obviously if she was really tapped into Force, she would display that better. Maybe she falls into more of the Sabine realm. I don't know, where midichlorians and Force, you could still use the Force, but midichlorians help, This is my favorite line of the whole thing, is basically, what side are you fighting on, is what Hunter asked Ventress, and she's like, I fight on my own side, which I really, really enjoyed. It's very much Ahsoka and Ventress are the same, cut from the same, where, Ventress gets burned from the dark side, Ahsoka gets burned from the light side, and really forging their own path, which I really like. She basically tells them, you're not safe. It's basically, and the clones watch her fly away. End credits. So there you have it, the Harbinger. Really enjoyed this episode. Like I said, definitely, if you want a little bit more depth, definitely catch out Dark Disciple. It is super, super cool. It's a really good book. The whole story arc is just really, really good. It's gonna mess with me here. It is Christy Golden that wrote that book, but I believe it's with. I want to say it's a story element from. I want to say Luca, I feel like Lucas's daughter had something to do with it. I think I think that's what it is. I'm pretty sure. It would be cool. I mean, not that they don't have to do this. I mean, that's part of but it would be cool to see this animated. It was essentially, it was released in 2015. Wow, long time ago. Based on scripts written in 8 unproduced episodes that would have been season 7 and 8. They're fantastic. It's fantastic. It's so good, man. So anyways, I think I could have sworn that it was based off some scripts, that these were scripts from Lucas's daughter or something like that, because she was a writer on there and everything. But yeah, there you go. Harbinger, Asajj Ventress. Maybe this is not the last time we'll see her, but we'll see. Okay, so light it all up this week is, what do you think of Ventress' return? Email us at bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. If you give us an answer, we would love to read it on the air and send you a little prize back. Okay, so there you go. Light it up. What do you think of Ventress' return? Again, bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. Well, Space Wizards, Plastic Space... Let me try that again. Well, Space Wizards, Plastic Spacemen, and Rebel Princesses, thanks again for listening to another episode of Big T and Little T, a Star Wars podcast. So you can find us on the socials, Big T, Little T Podcast, Instagram, BLILT Podcast on Twitter, and twitch.tv/Big T Little T. We got stickers. We want to hear from you. So comment, tweet, rate us on Apple Podcasts. Email us at bigtlittlepodcast@gmail.com. If you send us a screenshot or give us a nice rating and send us that our way, we'd love to read it on an upcoming episode. If you have questions or you got comments about Acolyte or Bad Batch or Skeleton Crew or whatever floats your boat, drop us a line and we would love to read your comments. And if you got any questions for us, Trent and I are super excited about C2E2. So if you're in the Chicagoland area and you're going C2E2, let us know too. We would love to hook up with you and just hang out for a little bit. We'll be there. It's 24 days from this recording. Next time we'll talk some Bad Batch. I know it's surprising, but that's just the season of we're on. Let's see what the next episode is called. Identity Crisis, Point of No Return. It's a double episode coming out April 3rd, which is tomorrow. Very cool. So we're going to have a double, brother. So then it's single episodes after that. And we're winding down already, May 1st. Oof. Okay, here we go. All right. Thanks, everyone. May the force be with you. Or no, let's... truly wonderful the mind of the child is, and may the force be with you always. Bye.